I wanted to put this second video out as soon as I can. When Esther was picking at my arm, or my hand, and my arm, she was pinching it, and she said, "You just took everything out of your body, don't put it back in." And I knew what she was talking about because of how hard it was to type all those stories. After she got done, she looked at me and she said, "Nyna, do you know what you just did?" And I said, "No, other than got rid of it." And she said, "You did. You got rid of it, and you just did something that I could never do." I could see the hurt, but there was something about her that, because I went through it and I wrote it and I got rid of it, it healed her. I also did a lot more healing in other ways. Thanks to Phyllis and Andy Chelsea and Ivy, I did personal development trainings. I think altogether I did 16, and that's where you really go into yourself and heal and let things go. I have to let you know I did forgive most of them. The first one that raped me, it took me a long time to forgive him. But it was easier to forgive once I became a Christian. You can't hold on to that stuff. It'll eat you up. I looked at a lot of people who were raped and molested, and some of them would become so cold and bitter, and they wouldn't want to be around anybody, and some of them had gotten married and was only with him, and I wish that was me. But a lot of the women who were molested at that age, they became very promiscuous. It was like I had no self-worth. I had nobody to hold my hand and take me aside and tell me they love me and show me that love and concern. When my uncle told me not to tell my mom, and then my mom walked in on me when I was being raped by my uncle, I could still hear her words. She said, "You're goddamn lucky." It was, "You're goddamn lucky your dad didn't walk in. Now get your ass in the bedroom." Those were her words. I went in that room and it was my first out-of-body experience. I went up in the corner and I was looking down and I was looking at that little girl and I was thinking, man, I just want to hold her and hug her and tell her I love her and tell her she's going to be okay. Somewhere that little girl left. I didn't find her again for years. And I guess that's where my mind just shut down to protect me, which was good. And being older and remembering it, I can't imagine knowing and remembering all that stuff as a young girl, My biggest supporter through all this was my husband, telling me, this is not your fault. Everything that happened for a reason. I mean, the poor guy, I didn't think we were going to make it, because every time summer came, it was go over to Prince of Wales and have an affair, and he patiently waited, even though people would call him and say, what's wrong with you? Why are you still with her? He knew. He knew what went on with me, and I just thank God every day, that I have that kind of love and support, and I'm finding the friends and the friendships now that I can trust in and open up with. And when I became a Christian, I sat in the church with Sister Steinberg, and I told her these things, and I cried, and I didn't know. You never know how hard it is, and I didn't talk about it as much. After that one friend told me she didn't want to be my friend no more. If somebody brought it up, I'd talk about it, but the hardest lesson I learned through this all, and not remembering for one, and then not forgiving myself, but finding out as a young mother how wrong I was in what I said to my girls. I remember telling them, if anybody hurts you, let me know. I'll kill them. I didn't know. I didn't know that in their little minds, they were saying, I can't tell my mom what happened to me, because if I tell my mom's going to kill him, and then my mom's going to go to jail. And we won't have my mom no more. I didn't know. I didn't know. And I hated it. Once I found out, I was like, I'm their mother. How did I not know? How did I not see the signs? You can bet I'm doing things different with Ivy. I'm saying the right things. I went to the classes, and I went to counseling, and I found out the right things to say to your kids so that they're not afraid to come to you. I was really, when I look back, I don't know how to say this. I felt bad for the moms. I felt bad for the sisters. I felt bad for the wives and their children. These guys that did that to me. I didn't have the strength to confess. I didn't have the strength to go and get in their face and be mean, and I dreamt of it. I dreamt of it all the time. A couple of them have come and apologized. One guy apologized, and I didn't even remember. I didn't know until he looked at me and he said, Nyna, I want to ask for forgiveness for what I did to you many years ago. And I was in the middle of saying, yeah, I forgive you, when I remembered what happened. I didn't even know. I didn't remember, you know. But because the words came out of my mouth that I forgive you, it made it easier. Because all the pain that I had, he must have had also, because it's hard to go up and ask forgiveness from somebody no matter what it is, and especially this. So yeah, I forgave him right away. I wish, you know, we all do. We wish this never happened to us and happened to our children. There's nothing we can do. We just have to do what we can to forgive, do what we can to get over it, and move on. I'm making these videos because Esther started a healing in me. A healing I don't want to stop. A healing that she couldn't have. That she couldn't live or get over, and it wasn't until she did that with me that she could get over it, you know? There's a lot of our elders that have been hurt, you know, and it's not going to help by naming these people. I know for a fact that if I named some of these people, that their wives, their children, or their siblings will call me a liar and, you know, every other name that goes with it. I'm not lying. I'm not. They know who they are. I sure wished I could have named names. I sure wished I could have screamed their name and holler at them. Run their name through the mud like mine was. You know what hurts? One of those guys. Maybe I should have yelled out and hollered and everything, but it was one of those guys not only did it to me, but did it to my daughter. That hurts. But I'm not going to carry that bitterness. I'm not going to carry that hate. I let it go. Through God who has strengthened me, I let it go. The hurt will be there. I don't know where I'd be without Esther telling me to write it all down, every bit of it. I'd probably still be running off every summer, you know, or something away from my husband, but thank God, thank Esther, thank... I'm moving on. You know, she saved my life that day. That day after I read the story to her, after I'd been gone for 3 months, she had me call the opposite tribe to the house. And while we were waiting for them, she said, "You know how much I love you, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I wouldn't be doing any of this if I didn't love you as much as I do." They came. They sat on her couch. Or on the chair. She was on her chair. She told them how much she loved me. She said, I want you guys to protect her. I want you guys to take her out of my home today and don't let her come back. They had to help me down the stairs that day because it was hard to leave her. The very next day I went back. She had a caregiver there, and I still can't remember her first name, but her name's Michelson. And she told Esther I was at the door. And all I could hear was Chook Day. She closed the door on me, and I stood there for a long time before I walked down the stairs. And I remember her telling me, Nyna, my family will hurt you if I don't protect you. My family will hurt you if I don't cut you off right now. You have to leave. Not all her family. Not all of them. This healing that I'm going through, I owe it all to her. I owe it to the Chelseas, and I never told them what I was going through when I went through those classes. But, you know, I truly believe that if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know in higher power, God, Jesus as I call him, if you don't have him, other people's demons can jump on you. I carried a lot of them with me. I hurt people. I never could make a commitment to anybody until I was able to make a commitment to Esther. Every time I start one of these tapes, I'm not sure what I'm going to say. I just know that I have a kind of a idea of what I'm going to talk about. But so many memories and thoughts come, and feelings. You're all welcome to call or text. I'll help anybody. If I can do my best to try to help some of those people that hurt me to become saved. Just think of how much more I want to help the victims. I'm not going to hold any hate and anger in my heart for anybody. I'm doing this so that my children can heal, my friends can heal, my family. We have to step out. We have to find that faith. We have to find that strength. And we have to believe that all that crap that I went through all that stuff that I went through was to help somebody else, to help somebody heal, to help somebody find God, to find forgiveness not only in their heart, but forgiveness for who hurt them. You can find me on Facebook. Send me a private message. Whatever you want. I just want you guys, those are the ones that are hurting, to know He'll help. Those of you that can't forgive, you need to. I can't tell you how good life is once I forgave them. Thank you for watching.